Welcome to the VERAfied Podcast. I'm John Mafnas. This is Brandon the Truth Vera and Chief Franklin Arriola. What's up, gentlemen?
Hey.
I'm good. How you doing, Chief?
Back for round two.
Can I just tell you?
Two.
Episode 2?
What's up?
Who gave 3 baldies episode 1?
All right.
You know what? I'm going to
right.
answer that question right now. We have amazing partners. We don't even call them sponsors.
Nah.
Our biggest supporters from the beginning, Guam Army National Guard.
Yep.
Woo-woo.
Shout out, Master Sergeant Cruz.
Joey.
Yes,
Joey. And Joey can roll.
Joey, man, you don't just preach it, you live it. Keep rolling. Keep all them boys in check. Keep everybody in line.
Speaking about living, right? Our production crew, oh my God, just amazing people. 3 blind mice.
3 blind mice. Yep.
Salamat
1, 2.
po.
Mojo,
Yeah,
Gary,
salamat.
Rob, Duke. Oh,
3 blind mice with the 3 bald heads.
they're responsible
Round 2.
for making 3 bald guys look really good. Well, these 2 guys look good. They're faking me look good, right? No, we don't fake anything. We're the truth.
No filters.
That's right. Shout out
Hashtag.
to Guam Windward Memorial. Bobby.
Brother Bob.
Bobby, thank
Salas,
you.
yeah.
Bobby
Thank you very
Salas.
much, Bobby.
So awesome.
We actually played high school football together, me and Bobby.
Okay.
Back in the day.
Class of 79.
Yeah.
Don't get him started. He'll keep going.
Ooh, watch out.
And then brought to you by Grapplers Quest coming January when?
GQ, January 27, 28.
The UOG
out.
Calvo Fieldhouse.
Ooh, I love it.
2-day tournament.
Love it. 2-day
Right?
tournament.
2-day tournament.
Going to be
Gi, no gi.
huge.
Yeah.
Gi, no gi. I'm very excited to let everybody know that you're going to compete, if possible, in more than one division, which is a big deal because usually you go to a tournament, you enter one division,
Yep.
and usually it's one you're
One and
out.
done. Yeah.
Ours is 2 matches minimum, so it's double elimination. So if you're in 2 divisions, you're going to get at least 4 matches that
matches,
day.
yeah.
That was the coolest thing about Grapplers Quest. You can always go up. You can never go backwards, but you're always allowed more than one division. And I thought that was so cool, especially if somebody beat you in round 1.
Yeah.
You get them later on
Yeah.
in another
Down, yeah,
division.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Grapplers Quest, for you guys who don't know, the #1 submission grappling tournament in North America. We would say the world for the last 20 years. Resurrecting here in Guam. USA,
How about that?
January
That'd
2024.
Yeah, Guam.
And then also our sponsor, we're proudly
Oh.
donning
You know,
Truth Apparel, baby.
Truth Apparel.
Look at that, look at that, look
Yep.
at that. Oh, yeah.
What we got
that
here?
leisure wear.
Oh,
Thank you
My
very
God.
much.
zoom in on that.
Frankie
label there,
wearing
man.
that
Look at Oh,
amazing-
Look at that.
Look at that.
With the 3
He got-
blind
he got
mice.
his-
There you go, boys.
He got his hoodie on. He got his polo on.
Give it to the 3 blind
Oh,
mice.
look at that, look at that,
Oh,
look at that. Here you go, gentlemen.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you to our
Thank
partners.
you, Apparel. Thank you.
We are going to get right into it. Our first
Thanks,
segment, Truth Be Told.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Oh boy, here we go.
This is presented by the Guam Army National Guard. All right. I'm going to light up these 2 Republicans big time. If any or all of the 4 felony cases against Donald Trump preclude him from running or serving as our next president, the current slate of Republican presidential candidates will be able to reinvigorate our country's economy and bring America back to prominence again. Thoughts?
B.
No. There's not even much to think about. No, I just don't believe it. Everybody's
Donald Trump sent for you, Hubby. That's it?
not just me, like the whole world is vested in Trump. If you put anybody else in at all, it would look like a substitute teacher. And then you have RFK in the back running as independent.
Yeah.
So if it's not Trump, it's going to be a mess. Even with Trump in, it's still going to be a mess. But Chief, I would like to hear your opinion.
Yeah, the dynamics of this coming election, right? it's crazy, right? So think about it, right? The Democrats are dead set on Joe Biden, pretty much.
Wow.
And there's a number of reasons. You know, Gavin Newsom's he's visiting.
He's parading.
He's going to China.
He's parading.
on his own.
He's peacocking.
If I was
Yeah.
a California citizen, I mean, what are you doing over there, dude?
CCP?
Yeah.
Wow.
Kamala Harris. Oh my, you know.
You know.
Yeah.
All right, Montel.
Swing and a miss,
Williams.
right?
All right, Montel Williams second.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, ouch.
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 Man, just bring it up. stuff that people don't know about.
Yeah, so the Democrats are kind of they're stuck too, right? Now the Trump base is solid. It's solid. I don't know enough about the legal system, whether if his indictments carry through. I suspect that his attorneys, his lawyers are going to push everything back till after the election, and I think they can drag it out.
I think one judge just granted that.
Yeah, possibly.
Till after the elections, yeah, I think.
So what that means is, and like I said earlier in a previous podcast, DeSantis is fine. Nikki Haley's pretty solid, and Vivek as well. I think they're pretty solid people, but they just don't have that support, to your point, B, that Donald Trump has, right? And so there's a lot of Americans who are like, shit, I don't want to do a repeat of those two old dudes.
Yeah.
And that's why RFK comes into play. He's an independent. So the argument or the debate, the question now is he going to take more away from Biden or from Trump?
And
right?
gentlemen,
that's
that's maybe my take, right? Just like you two guys, right? And especially we've got the Air Force veteran, Brandon Vera, very patriotic. Frank, I mean, the only thing he doesn't do is stand there and wave the Guam and American flag. But that being said, because we believe this nation is the greatest in the world.
Absolutely. No question.
I'm a fan.
We have just a little bit less than 500 million people, and our election has to come down to two old white guys. I mean, we don't have a succession plan. We don't have two people that can come in and say, I'm going to push this. And I don't disagree with you, B. I don't like Donald Trump's personality, but he's not my next door neighbor. We need a leader. And I will tell you that when he was in office, I felt safe.
No wars.
Yeah.
Probably, I would say if we didn't have COVID, our economy would be flourishing. Now, what are we dealing
money
with?
on that.
What are we dealing with? And I know, our next episode is going to talk all about the wonderful Joe Biden, but I want to know if there is any hope on the Republican side that for whatever reason Donald Trump is not allowed to run. Is there somebody out there? Frank mentioned Nikki Haley. I would love to see Nikki Haley. The problem with Nikki Haley is she's running in a place, I love America, but this is the truth. We're still pretty sexist here.
Hey, man. When you say Nikki Haley, the only song that comes up into my head is I think it's James Brown. This is a man's world. With the state of the world right now, nobody wants a female president in right now. The world's a mess right now. It's a mess. We need a man. A man. XX chromosome, XY chromosome man in office, holding it down like a dad or a grandfather should, looking out for the family at home. Mm-hmm. Not somebody looking out for the interest of everyone else first.
Yeah. To go back to your first point, your first concern, John, Donald Trump, I mean, he's a lightning rod for all kinds of things. Yeah. But that being said, and, gosh, he was talking about grabbing girls on the other side, and then he's a freaking asshole. But I went to school with guys like that. B, you went to guys on the East Coast. You know what these guys are like. Yep. They're just like that. That's how they speak. But at the end of the day, I think without question, he had the best interest of not just some American people, but all American people. People called him a racist, and I thought, okay, he's a racist, fine, because he's a white guy and he's got some orange skin, orange man bad, and all that stuff. One of his best buddies was Herschel Walker. I don't know about you, but Herschel Walker, he ain't no white dude, right?
I remember growing up on the East Coast when I was younger, seeing pictures of Donald Trump on the red carpet with a beautiful ass black woman. Yeah. And she was a dark-skinned black woman. She was on a couple red carpets with him, So I remember that growing up as a little kid. I was thinking, how's he racist? How's that happen? If that's his girl, for a little while.
You know what I thought? And Donald Trump is not racist, but he definitely runs with winners. Mm-hmm. Right? Herschel Walker was a Heisman Trophy winner. You see him in college when he's a sophomore, number 34, Georgia Bulldogs, go Dogs. If you know anything about football, Herschel Walker was the man. Of course, he went to play on for the New Jersey Generals of the USFL, at which point Donald Trump, right? And so Donald Trump owned that team at that time. But if you, as long as you move like a winner, act like a winner, and speak like a winner, Donald Trump will give you a chance. Once you start whining, right, about, woe is me, and, when I was raised, oh my God, I need more help, give me some more tax money, blah, blah, blah. He's, whatever. And I think that's his thing, right? And it's a typical New Yorker thought process. I mean, someone on Facebook, said something to me about, Donald Trump's this and he's that, and he's a loser. I said, dude, bro, that guy's like maybe 500 million times wealthier than you are, i.e. more successful. I mean, Trump Tower, have you seen that? Mar-a-Lago, those guys. I mean, he's done some pretty important things, and to do that, you have to have some serious gumption, some serious focus, and some serious cojones, so to speak, right?
Different level.
And I think, and now look at today, right? I mean, oh my God. If he was the president, and I say this with all conviction, a lot of, Frank, that's just a Republican talking point. No, it's actually what I believe. If he was the president right now, none of these monkeys would be even thinking about messing with him. Yeah, you know that.
Correct. 1,000% correct.
Yeah.
1,000% correct.
I mean, the Iranians, when all the deals that he put together, the Abraham Accords, I mean, he basically castrated those people economically. So they couldn't afford to fund these guys now. Joe Biden comes into office and they go from, again, I said $4 billion annual or whatever it was, to $70 billion.
Yeah.
So that war chest, it's feeding into the terroristic component. So I mean, you need a wartime president, and when he was the president, to your point, B, there was no wars, man. We were cool.
Yeah.
Just to put a pin in everything we're talking about, as of right now, today or yesterday, I think the Keystone Pipeline would have been finished. It would be 900,000 barrels a day. It would be done yesterday or today. I can't remember when I read it. We're in Guam or I was flying in the air, but yeah.
I remember when Joe Biden came into office and he first did that. I didn't know. I'm not in the oil industry, so I didn't. Until a couple of weeks later, you kind of follow the news, and then all these smart oil industry guys came and said, "Well, this is what's going to happen.
This is what's going to happen."
And sure enough, here we are.
Yeah,
they've got the cash flow. Yeah. They have the resources. They're emboldened, and they just raped 1,000. Murdered and killed 1,000 plus.
And I think with Donald Trump, it proved something, right? If it made sense or it made you feel uncomfortable, the other side.
Yeah.
And I'm not even just necessarily talking about the libs.
Yeah.
Just people who sat there and said, I don't know if I want to hear that. Well, maybe sometimes, and maybe all the time, you should hear the truth, right?
Yeah. And Donald, I'm not like, Donald Trump, I never was, but I respect what he's done. And just as importantly, whatever he said ultimately became true.
He did it.
Yeah,
all of it. Yeah,
he didn't BS anything. I was running this morning, listening to a YouTube, and I'm running, and a bunch of guys are going back and forth. I think it's Kudlow from Fox News, and he's talking about when Donald Trump was the president of the United States, the average mortgage rate was like 3.0%,
2.5 to 3.5.
Yeah, okay,
and you can buy down.
Okay, right. So guess what it is today?
7.
It's knocking on 8.
Yeah.
And for a 25-year-old couple trying to get a new home, et cetera, you've doubled your mortgage payment from like $1,200 to $2,400.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I just and it wasn't so much him, it was his policies, because he had good people around him, people who actually gave a shit about the country. Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State at the time. Mm-hmm. Here's what I think, if I could, right? So we got Tony Blinken now. I don't know where he came from. Maybe he's probably a Harvard guy, and he's a smart guy, no question. He academically is very smart. But when you have the valedictorian of the United States Army as your Secretary of State, just that alone, when he walks into a room with Xi Jinping or anybody else, wherever he walks in, you know where he's coming from, and that's just the basics, right? Again, I don't even know who Blinken is or where he came from. I know that he was the guy who initiated 51 former intelligence officials to sign that document that said
was
that
it.
Hunter Biden's laptop was
fake.
Russian disinformation. He's the guy who rolled that, and he had the audacity. I'm going to digress a little bit here, but he had the audacity to say in an interview, in my job, I don't have to do politics. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Bro, you would not have had this job as Secretary of State if you didn't do politics.
Yeah.
I mean, just be honest. Just tell the truth. I can respect that, right? But if you try to say that you didn't, then I'm like, dog, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, here's some world truth, guys. My daughter, Nicole, she packages mortgages for a living.
Okay.
Right?
Oh.
And she's really good at it.
All right.
She's done it for a really long time. And job security, companies doing well. Joe Biden becomes president, and my daughter gets laid off because the interest rates are so high
Yeah.
that nobody is buying
Tough, man. It's tough.
houses anymore.
Tough.
It's hard. Yeah.
And this is a sign of the times. Whether people out there believe that Donald Trump is the guy, what I do know is that Biden's not. All right, gentlemen, it is time for verified mail.
Hey.
Okay, Brandon and Frank, here's question number 1 from a viewer. What is your take on the Jake and Logan Paul type pay-per-view events? Are we supposed to take these guys seriously? And B, I guess maybe this is really for you. Is this the future of combat sports?
Should we be taking them seriously?
Yeah, look, those guys, they train hard, but is it YouTube influencers fighting either MMA has-beens or guys who don't box, and then everybody gets paid a lot and either somebody falls, or even if it's real, I grew up, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I grew up at the time where you watched the Tyson fight, you watched the Muhammad Ali fight, you watched these huge fights, right? Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was glued to the TV, right? I was watching this, and this was true mano a mano. This was the battle, and whoever won, right? There was just this respect. Now, I don't even know. I don't pay for that. I don't watch it. If I see any highlights, it's because it's on, Sports Center or something else,
Whoever's
right?
covering it, yeah.
Absolutely. So, are we supposed to take them seriously? And is this the future of combat sports?
So I would say for the Logan brothers, the Paul brothers, and all the boys that are doing their YouTube stuff, bravo. I would say that they are very entertaining events. I would not call them fights. I would not call them combat. I would call them scripted events that everyone gets to enjoy. I'm not a fan of them, but I am a fan of their business. I'm a fan of their entertainment value, and
Yeah, because we got to give them props, right?
1000% correct.
They jumped on, a cottage industry, right? And now,
Not just that, they're paying people. They're paying people big money,
That's
millions
true.
of dollars, more than any other organization was doing for
They're
people
sharing
at
the
time.
wealth.
They're sharing the wealth. So I'm a fan of their business. I'm not a fan of their antics and what they do. And man, they've been child stars since day one. So they've gone through more drama and problems than I can only imagine, But it's an entertainment show.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a fight. And watching the events, I've seen some of them. They don't look like they're fighting. The people that I've seen fight, those guys aren't fighting. They're just kind of hanging out in the pocket, slipping and moving,
That's
not
true.
throwing back.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not a fight. I see it for what it is. But I'm glad that how many people they get watching 50 million or 5 million or the YouTube views. So they're killing it. And his events, they're making millions of dollars per event. Millions, like 50 million, 100 million, 150 million. I'm happy for that business model. I don't get it. I couldn't do it, but
I'm glad you brought that up, B, about the business model, right? Like you, I'm happy for them. They're making a shit ton of money. They're supporting a lot of families, and I think that's great. As a sports enthusiast, and he's a fighter, right? Obviously, I'm a sports enthusiast. What I've seen in the past couple of years, the business model has kind of morphed, right? I think I was just watching this the other day, and I think Joe Rogan was kind of commenting on their thing.
Okay.
And it was kind of along the lines of, it's kind of like, to make an analogy, it's kind of like a second-tier NFL team like the Dallas Cowboys, right? And
That's hard for Frank to say because he's a Cowboys fan.
Hold up. Meets the Kardashians, right?
Okay.
It's gossip, entertaining, who I'm sleeping with today, and some semblance of a athletic team or sport or an athlete, right?
Got it.
And so what I'm hoping is, and that's fine, they're making millions of dollars, and Americans want, and people around the world want to see that. But I hope that doesn't take away from those fighters like Nagano, right, and those kind of guys who are going to stay in that lane of, we're just going to fight. Correct. Right? Because I can respect those athletes. I just don't want to see, all the other stuff. And I'm not going to, the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift thing, right? I think it's great that they're checking each other out. And I think it's great that Taylor Swift's bringing her fans into the NFL scene and vice versa. I think she's bringing more fans to the NFL.
Why is that even a conversation, though? And the
NFL loves it. But I just think that, I want to judge an athlete on what they do on the field. And I think that's ultimately what's going to happen. I think that's what's going to ultimately shape out. What's going to shape out. Only the best and the strong will survive, no matter what it is, and no matter what the distractions may or may not be.
B, you started martial arts what age?
I don't know. Taekwondo.
Okay.
If you're an Asian kid in the U.S., you did piano, violin, and Taekwondo. That was kind of the prerequisite for you to be brown.
So I'm thinking that Brandon, right, who is a perpetual martial artist, right, for life, probably started martial arts right out in of the womb, or maybe even in the womb, right? Well, those of you who don't know, Frank Arriola played sports. I think he had a basketball when he was still in mom's stomach, and played football. Great athlete. So I'm going to throw this question that came in from a viewer. When it comes to international sports, the rest of the world has caught up to the United States, and to a certain extent, may be surprising to us. It's evident that we are kind of losing ground in the U.S. And when you look at the FIBA Basketball World Cup, we couldn't muster a bronze, Frank.
Well,
what does the U.S. need to do to get back to world dominance in sports?
B? Oh.
Chief, please.
Gosh. Whew. That's a loaded question, right? I think that the upfront answer is we're distracted. We're distracted with things that, as you mentioned, B, don't even matter. I mean, so you drive a Mercedes-Benz, so you got an NIL deal and you're making millions. Is that going to make you win a basketball game? Maybe it will. Maybe, I don't know, right? But I suspect that if rest in peace, Bobby Knight just passed away. If you had a guy like him, Krzyzewski, his student, coaching the USA and working on using their program, I think we do a lot better. Because what is the focus? If the focus is to win a gold medal, then great. That's representing country, which is way different, in my opinion, than the NIL deals that the kids today are. I'm happy for them, but there's going to be distraction. I mean, the Deion Sanders kids, right? The Colorado Buffaloes.
Should do our shout out to him, but he's driving a Rolls Royce.
Yeah, he's 21 years old. And he's driving a Rolls Royce and a diamond-studded Rolex watch into school, and I'm happy for you, kid. But, whoo! And then they ran into the USC Trojans, and then they ran into everybody else, and they just got killed. So there's distractions, I think, that are really for our basketball, right?
Yeah.
We used to dominate the stage, and all of our best players are either retired or they're towards the end of their career. But the NBA, I think they're toying around with the All-Star contest. Instead of having an East versus West, now it's the USA-born kids or players against the international players
Versus the world.
And I think that would be a good kind of a litmus test to see.
Yeah. You know what I remember, though? I remember, guys, when we were feared. Nobody fears us in basketball anymore,
Michael.
right?
Hold on, man.
Nobody.
So let me go back. Let me go back even further. I think when did we start losing our gumption? When did we start losing our edge? When we started handing out participation trophies
Oh, there you go.
for everything. I think the USA became very soft when everybody could become a winner just for participating. My family's a little bit different. We all compete, so everybody understands that there is only one winner, no matter what you're doing in life, and there's only one valedictorian. There's only one,
with
top
you.
student. There's only
with
one.
you, yeah.
There can only be one. If you don't know what that is, then I'm sorry. That's your fault. So we became soft back then. We started having all our problems then. And I think the we devalued what it took to become a winner is what happened, Like we took away all the prestige of the hours you have to put in, all the sweat you have to pour in, all the blood and work. And then it came back with MMA. MMA is a different beast. Like any combat sport, that's different. That's a whole different level. Boxing included. Any combat sport, karate, it's different because you get to prove your worth right then and there in front of the world. But all the other sports, all the other ones, every single one, I think we started losing it. We started losing our edge.
Our edge, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
I remember when Michael Jordan was at, he's always at the top of his game, right? No matter what he's doing, right?
MJ.
But there was the famous campaign, right? I want to be like Mike. And he was being interviewed by Bob Costas, who said, how do you feel about that? And everybody, of course, has expected him to say the politically correct thing, to say, oh, I think it's flattering. And he said, that's not fair. Because if you think you can wake up and just be like Mike, then you don't understand the hours and the pain and the blood, sweat, and tears. And I think that goes to what you're talking about. Folks, you are listening to the VERAfied Podcast. We're going to take a quick break. Before we do that, though, I do want to recognize again our partners, Guam Army National Guard, 3 Blind Mice.
Here we go.
Special thanks to Guam Windward Memorial, Grapplers Quest, Truth Apparel. Give a shout out also to a couple of our designers, Cedric
Sarasola.
Mallory Cruz.
MC Creative right here.
Absolutely, right?
That.
Want to throw out some love to Big John Calvo and our brother Bert Sardoma. Thank you, everybody. We're going to take a quick break. VERAfied Podcast. We'll be back. You've got VERAfied Podcast, John Mafnas, Brandon Vera, Frank Arriola. It's time right now for Truth or BS. All right, gents, as you know, I'm going to give you a statement.
Okay.
And you tell me if it's the truth.
Are these trick questions, Johnny?
Well, you know,
Wait a minute, man.
depends on who you ask.
Okay.
Something tells me this segment's going to be long because my brothers here, my bald brothers, are going to go off. All right, statement number 1. And whoever starts, it doesn't matter because I'm sure we're going to be on fire. Statement number 1, Kamala Harris is a better fit for president than Joe Biden. It's a little bit like trying to decide whether you're going to, you want to choke to death or get shot in the head, huh?
Or you want to drown to death. Like that's Kamala Harris isn't fit for anything. No, that's total BS. It's total BS.
But I guess maybe
Against Joe Biden versus Joe Biden.
Is she better than Joe Biden? I know we're kind of comparing bad pizza with bad burgers.
It's
but
tough. Just got to make,
Yeah, she'll be better than Joe Biden. At least you won't. I don't know, man.
I know it's hard. I know it's hard.
Would she be bad? I don't know. They're both a train wreck. Like they're both worthless, man. Like it doesn't. They can't be in front of camera. They can't be off camera. They can't.
They are both a train
wreck. Yeah.
They're both a mess.
I love it.
doesn't make
I love
sense,
it.
man. I don't know.
That's the next truthism
Yeah.
on.
They're both a train wreck.
Chief, I guess, and I don't
Sorry,
disagree.
Gio.
No,
What do you
no,
have,
no, it's good. No, it's
I
good.
don't
It's-
disagree with
you're
Brandon.
just being honest.
But here's just to give her not props because we need to, right? We don't need to be politically correct. We're the truth here. But that being said, you watched her performance as a prosecutor. She was good.
Oh.
And then all of a sudden, what happens? You get to become vice president, and then you don't know how to communicate. You don't know how to talk. You're not really following the issues.
Just speaking words.
on the last note, I saw her grill future Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh, and she ripped him up. I think she brought him to tears.
Okay.
right? She is. It's one thing to be a prosecutor, and I think she's really good at that. It's another thing to be a manager in a political setting, right? Those are two completely different
makes sense,
things,
yeah.
right? I mean, she's a train wreck. There's no you put a mic. So let me go back, right? I want to make that first point. The big point really is, we have daughters, right? We have women in our family, in our lives, right? That we love them and we really respect. I was really hoping that, I didn't like that Joe Biden won. I mean, he wasn't, I wasn't supporting him and Kamala Harris. But since they became the president, vice president, yet even though they're a train wreck, which I totally agree with you, I want them to be successful because when they're successful, we're successful. And just as importantly, you're the first female vice president. Man, that's a big, you can't just show up not prepared. I mean, you have smart staff behind you who will give you all the research and all the bullet points. You just got to read the damn thing
People
and
waiting
let
on
it
you
fly.
to do something amazing.
Exactly.
There's people waiting on you to do something amazing. You're
Exactly.
the first female.
Excuse me. No question. No question. You're
That
exactly
is so
correct.
worth repeating. There are people out there. It's not just for Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or anybody. If you're leading this country, right? This is not a country of mediocrity.
No.
So if you go and you serve, especially at that highest level, we're waiting for you to do something amazing because this is an amazing country. Why would you represent it with anything less than that kind of energy or passion or...
John, going back to the prior segment, right? Brandon was talking about the participation trophies, right? And in my head, I write these columns every now and then. I'm trying to get it right, where it's kind of like America right now is lowering the bar, number one.
Yes, sir.
And to a great extent, really, it's like kind of like a race to the bottom. If we don't take care of these things now, America's not. We just talked about basketball a little bit. I mean, that's just sports. Does that even really matter? Not really, but the same principles apply. And with the current leadership in our country, I see it as a race to the bottom. And to your point, Kamala Harris has a great. I mean, are you kidding me? The second most powerful person in the world, in the universe, right? And she's blowing it. She's blowing it hard. That was a bad one, but
Was that Freudian?
sorry about that
Literally.
one. But if you know what I'm saying, right? I mean, it's
You got Gary, by the way. Gary is just cracking up. I just need to mention that. Gary from Three Blind Mice. Yeah. Gary is such a professional, but he just said, did Frank just say she's blowing
He
it
sure
hard?
did.
Okay.
He sure did.
okay. Stop. Pause.
Mark that one. Let's go.
Stop.
As my kids would say, Dad, pause. But we are rooting for her, and we should.
Yeah.
I'm a conservative. She's a liberal. I'm still rooting for her because she's leading our country. But man, it's I don't see it. Would she be a better president? For train wreck notwithstanding, Joe Biden has some serious baggage, and I believe that he's compromised in how he executes his policies. And for that reason, I would take Kamala Harris over him.
Okay.
For that and that alone.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So with Frank, we got truth, and with our brother B, kind of in the middle, right? But I see what Frank is saying. I will tell you, and we'll close up this segment, but or at least this question. For me, I had high hopes for her, and it's because I watched her performance as a prosecutor. But as Frank said, right, you can't wish whether you voted for these people or not. You don't wish them harm or for them to not do well in the job, because then you're wishing for your nation to fail.
Correct.
when I knew that we were on point, that maybe it's a lackluster performance, is when I would read the articles from even liberal media saying that even her own staffers don't want to be around her.
She doesn't train.
And
she
they
doesn't
don't
read. She doesn't prep.
She doesn't. There's no prep.
Yeah.
And just even watching some of her sound bites, I just go, did
You can see the
care?
moon with your very own eyes. I'm like, really?
Oh my God! Yeah,
Stop.
it's painful, but
Yeah.
they still have. What are we looking at? They've got a year
Jeez.
roughly left.
But here's the thing, right?
God,
She's
do-
number 2.
do something amazing.
Anything happens to Joe Biden, she steps up.
She is,
And-
and that's the reason. That's the
Yeah.
crux for the question. Because if anything happens to him, we have to hope she's a better fit.
Lord help us.
Yeah.
Lord help us. In an earlier segment, we had Taylor Swift come up, right? And I think it was B who said, "Is that even a question?" But I will tell you,
Why does that even matter? Yeah.
yeah, I will tell you, when I'm watching football and the football commentators who are extremely good at what they do are focusing on the fact that Taylor Swift is in the building and they're talking about her as they're also giving play-by-play in color, right? Whether we want to or not, we have to embrace it. So, on our segment, Truth or BS, Taylor Swift is becoming a distraction to Travis Kelce and the Kansas City Chiefs, and this will cost them a Super Bowl championship. B?
I think it should be a non-issue. It doesn't make any sense to me why they talk about that shit. And it makes me think about what else they're trying to hide or why they need this distraction for. If this is news, y'all need to fire everybody that's working for y'all and figure something else out. It makes me sad.
Yeah. I have a little bit of a NFL, right? They've been very successful. Goodell, right? Roger Goodell,
Yep.
right? He's a money guy, right? And I think, Taylor Swift brings in a new set of eyeballs. And that's why they're constantly cutting to her, because they want those eyeballs to buy number 87, right? And buy number 15. It's a money thing, right? Now, will it distract the Chiefs from winning the Super Bowl? I don't think so. Maybe Travis might lose some sleep on occasion when he should be resting and napping, right? Maybe. But I have faith in NFLers being professionals. And you got Andy Reid leading that team, right? He's a great coach. He's been there before. I mean, he's seen it all, right?
And they still, Frank, have that guy named, God, what is it, Mahomes?
Yeah, Patty, number 15, right? So,
Superstar.
I don't think it'll be that big of a
Yeah.
deal.
I agree with you. Just to wrap this up, I agree with you
to
that,
B's point, why are we even talking about it?
yeah.
But
It's all-
it brings
it's all
eyeballs.
money.
It brings eyeballs.
Her latest tour
See? This is why.
was $1
Why is
billion.
this- Yeah. She's a billionaire now. I get it. But why?
Okay. So I think on the Truth or BS, we just say that the whole thing with TS
Yeah.
getting involved in NFL is BS, right?
Oh.
No offense to you, Tay, right? God bless you. And you're employing people,
she's
so
successful,
that's all.
man.
That's
She's
awesome,
successful.
right? And just like Frank mentioned the Kardashians earlier. I don't watch the show. I don't care. But
I've seen
God
the
bless
tape.
him that they
Yeah, they're
found.
successful.
Oh, B saw the tape. I think he's talking about something else.
I've never seen that one.
The beginnings. Oh my goodness.
Guys, you are tuned in. And thank you so much for tuning in to the VERAfied Podcast. Brandon the Truth Vera, MMA superstar, and now action hero, and husband to Ninja, and father to Atreo.
Atreo.
And Frankie, Atreo. I mean, I'm a short guy, so it's not hard to do, but Atreo's going to be like taller than all of us by, maybe 3 weeks from now?
Third grade, easy.
How old is he, B?
He's 3 years old.
3.
And he's
Oh,
half-
my God.
He's half my size already. So he's a giant, man.
He's going to be a big, tall dude, man.
Big boy. Thank you for tuning in. Want to give shout outs to Guam National Guard, 3 Blind Mice,
He's like mice.
Grapplers Quest, Guam Windward Memorial, Truth Apparel.
There you go.
That's right. Okay. You know what it's time for? It's time for the verified top 5.
Oh, dang. Here we go.
All right, this is where we take some
Here
time.
comes a curveball. I know. I'm going to screw up here.
Take some time, and
This is the one that makes me the most nervous.
it's so funny. We're talking about all of these huge issues, and Franklin Arriola is like, boom, 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 boom. Then all he has to do is give us his opinion on certain things. And he gets nervous.
My 5 favorite dishes. Oh, my God, I'm nervous. Oh, my God, I'm nervous.
Well,
I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this.
the verified top 5 is that I want to hear from Frank and Brandon to tell us their favorite 5 something, whatever it is. Last segment we did, or last episode, I should say, we did 5 action movies. Today,
We did like 700.
I love
movies.
this. The 5 best songs for a workout.
For a workout.
Oh, dang.
You know, you're sitting
I
there,
wanna
right?
hear his. I wanna
And
hear his.
sometimes you need motivation. I got to tell you, it's funny.
I got you. I got a playlist for y'all.
Mike Pari, shout out to attorney Mike Phillips. So Mike, going to UCLA, right? He'd work out at some of those California gyms. Frank knows, right? Because he's a USC Trojan. But he would tell me that he would go to the Gold's Gym, and you would think that it would be all these pumped up songs, and the guys in the gym preferred to work out to love songs. And I was shocked, but you know, I guess if you're already pumped up like that, right?
Yeah.
You don't need much motivation. If you need motivation, what are those 5 songs on that's coming through your AirPods?
So I have a list my ninja helped me make a long time ago. Mostly Hawaiian music. And just so you know, like when I first was playing this list in Asia, I was in the back locker room. I remember some guys that were talking smack that night was like, oh, I guess this is what you listen to when you get older. Those guys lost their fights that night, by the way.
Yeah.
And I smacked the hell out of somebody that night and won. But for me, this is the calm before the storm.
Yeah. Yeah.
No Guns Allowed.
No Guns Allowed. Who's that?
Snoop Lion, Drake, Corey B. Hello, it's the reggae cover of Conqueror and Rosie Damla. True Love by Soulja. And Your Song by Soulja and Damian Marley. Those are some of the songs that I listen to. And then one song that I don't listen to until it's time to walk out is my song when I walk out, when I actually walk
Yeah.
out. I think it's, I can't even think of the name of the song right now. I'm drawing a blank on my walkout song.
Is it good? Because I know what threw you off, right? Brother Bojo said, come on, don't forget Top Gun soundtrack,
Top Gun
Danger
soundtrack.
Zone, right? And it's funny, that's one of those
Danger
songs
Zone.
that's so corny, and I don't know if I'd have on my playlist, but I know when I watch Top Gun, I'm like, all right? I mean, it just, you know, it pumps you up. How about you, Frank? You're going to work out, and you are a workout fiend.
Yeah. So someone once said about my playlist that I'm like in a time warp.
Okay, what's that one?
I think my music stopped at 1979.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
That decade, it just stopped.
60s
Yeah.
and 70s, best music.
Maybe to like 80 in the mid 80s,
Yeah.
maybe 85, say, and then it stopped. I mean, it just didn't go past that,
Wow,
right?
okay.
Now that being said, if I was like by myself, because you know in the gym you can't like you can't like do your move. You can't bop your head. You'd be like, what the hell? But if I was in a gym by myself, it would definitely be the whole NWA album.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, straight out of Compton. Fuck the
Angry.
police.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, kind of a slight segue. I never knew what those guys were until
Yeah.
I watched the movie. For real, I know guys younger than me would listen to that and
Yeah.
hey Frankie, this and that. I'm like, wow, I don't whatever it is, right? I'm stuck in the 70s. But when I watched that movie, I'm telling you.
Became a fan.
Oh,
Instant
dude,
fan.
instant.
That's
instant.
cool.
'Cause
Yeah,
I,
Chief.
I love that the realness
Absolutely.
of what these guys went through.
Yeah.
Right. And it was, I thought it was depicted so well. Right. On what happened to them and how they fought through all the barriers.
You
and-
understood the music
Oh,
more.
absolutely.
You
That's why
understood the
I
lyrics.
straight out of Compton.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Motherfucking name Ice Cube.
Guys, if you're listening to this, yes, I'm thrown off too, right? Because I had no idea that Chief Arriola was going to throw out NWA.
If I'm in the gym by myself.
He got it all the way up.
Yeah.
And then I would
Turned all the way
never
up.
think that Brother B was going to throw out, some reggae stuff, right? But I think about it, right? You got a groove going on with the reggae, especially Hawaiian reggae, right? There's kind of like that. It makes you feel
a vibe,
good,
dude.
and it's
It's
a
a good vibe.
vibe.
It's a good vibe.
And then I was just
They
thinking
got
about that,
serious
right?
words.
How much harder would I work out if Dope Man was playing over the speakers? You know,
Dope man. Yeah.
absolutely, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. For me, it is exactly, and it reminds me, right, on the bus going, playing football for the JFK Islanders and driving or riding on that bus, right? I had at the time, okay, I'm going to age myself, but I had a Walkman, right?
Yeah.
And it was AC/DC's Back in Black, right?
Back in
It was
Black.
that kind where, and I don't care whoever was talking to me, right? I always listen to the coach unless we're on the bus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I just tuned everybody out. But
Yeah.
you get Back
That's
in
a good
Black
one.
going on,
That's a
and
good
it's
one.
just solid. So
I don't know the song, but check it out right after.
absolutely, you need to. Folks, we want to thank again you guys for tuning in. VERAfied
Thank you guys
Podcast.
very
Yeah.
much.
This-
Always.
Thanks to the partners. Absolutely.
Absolutely. This
They
is an
make this happen.
opportunity for you to hear, just a different perspective, right? And this is VERAfied, named after our brother here, Brandon, right? He's a superstar. We're all about the truth. You don't always, you probably won't always agree with our perspective. And sometimes we don't necessarily agree amongst ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're always going to bring the truth. VERAfied Podcast being brought to you by our partners, Guam Army National Guard,
Yeah, Guam. Thank you, Armed National Guard.
3 Blind Mice.
There you
Three
are.
blind mice.
Oh, those guys. Awesome, crazy, led by some, they're nuts, but they're just the best at what they do. Guam Windward Memorial. Shout out to Bree. Shout out to Brother Bobby Salas. Truth Apparel,
Truth to
Yeah.
Apparel.
handled by yours truly,
Chief, come on, Chief.
named after the truth. And coming January 2024,
Grapplers
Grapplers
Quest.
Quest. All right. This is how we're going to end the show, as we always do, with truisms. Gentlemen, give me a truism about Joe Biden. It's funny, this is supposed to be the quick segment. I think I just extended the show by an hour and a half.
Truism. The only way that our great country, the United States of America, could ever be taken down is with a plan that has been brought from within inside and forced upon the people. And I think that's exactly what's happening now in our country with our president, Joe Biden. That's my opinion, but there just seems to be a lot of coincidences and things pointing that way. You can't take down America from the outside. It has to be within. That's my truthism. Joe Biden's trying to destroy us inside.
Shit. Perfect. Perfectly well said.
You know what? This what he said.
Yes. Him. What he
Sorry,
said.
Chief. Sorry,
It's all that.
Chief.
No, it's as real as you can get, right? I mean, I can't wait to get into that segment, get into the details, right? But that's how it is. I mean, it's something that we absolutely have to do it because, like I've stated to so many people, our country it's upside down. It's just not right. It's like what? Anyway, we'll get into it more. And I can't come up with it because he took that one.
He did. He did.
Dunked that.
Sorry, Chief.
No, all good. All
No,
good.
that's
Perfect.
good.
You
That's
take
good.
the third episode. You go first on the
Okay,
third episode.
I'll go first. I'll go
Sorry,
first.
Chief.
I'll go first.
Well, viewers, as you
Good.
watch this, you realize that our truisms lead to the next episode.
The next episode.
And it's funny. We were talking about NWA. We were talking about Dre. The next episode is going to be coming up. Look out for it. Thank you again to our partners, our sponsors. This is the VERAfied Podcast. We are out.
Peace.